Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. This is something that I've mentioned a few times, like maybe in a stream or two before. I don't know if anyone really caught on to it, but if you haven't, I am very, very excited about this art. It's something that I wanted to talk more about and kind of showcase. And it's a Russian artist. So let me go ahead and just pull up the pictures. That way you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's better. I can show you much better than what I can tell you. Um, so, dude, check this out because the art is just freaking amazing. It's phenomenal. So, the artist is Vadim Veglavov. Hopefully, I pronounced their name right. But I just wanted to kind of go through some of these pictures, some of the artwork with you guys, and kind of like just circle through and talk a little bit about it. So, dude, number one, let's just go through because it's freaking amazing. So he's done art for the Mandalorian chapter, well, season one through season two, and he's also done some stuff for the Book of Boba Fett. So I just wanted to show you guys this artwork, and it's like think of like the old Marvel comics kind of style, that really old essence, to the artwork. He really brought that over, for each chapter, of the Mandalorian, and we're gonna look at the same thing for the Boba Fett as well. But dude, the artwork is freaking phenomenal. I'm sure you guys have probably seen some of this, probably floating around on the internet. So this isn't like crazy breaking news that I'm bringing to you guys, but this is just something that I wanted to showcase because I think, that's one of the things I don't really talk about much, but like in my own little workspace, I have a good plethora of artwork hanging up on my walls that I love to collect along with, my Funkos and whatever else. But artwork is one of those things that's very near and dear to me. One thing that I really appreciate, even within the Mandalorian, show itself, the artwork is something that I've always grown really fond to. And by the way, more content is coming, by the way, for the season two art book. I have that, so just know there's going to be some content coming for that. But dude, look at these, look at the artwork. It's just freaking incredible, dude. It really is. I can't get enough of this artwork, man. It's so cool. So, and he has some stuff for season one. This is season one. Sorry, he has some stuff for season two as well. That's just freaking phenomenal. Now, aside from that, what I wanted to show you guys was also the stuff that he has for, I believe it's the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah. So let's check that one out. This one's pretty darn cool too. So dude, just look at this. And this is one thing I do want to say. Looking at the Book of Boba Fett, and I've said this before, but looking at it as like a comic book or a book really helps me personally to appreciate the show even more. When you kind of look at it from this lens of like, okay, if the Book of Boba Fett were a comic book, it's like you appreciate each chapter, each issue, because it's like, okay, you know what, this character may have more precedence or more of a dominant, presence within this issue, but it all circles back to the title. It all circles back to, per se, the main character. And dude, just look. I really hope that they actually like sell some like posters or like printed copies of this stuff because it's really cool, man. I just love the way it looks. You know what I mean? Like especially that one right there with Din Djarin with the dark saber, man. Oh, it's so glorious. So man, this I just love the artwork. Now I'm showcasing this and talking about this not only because I appreciate the art, but there's also an idea that has been circling my mind for a while, and it's really looking at not necessarily just novelization, but comics, looking at like a mini series comic run, for the Mandalorian, and something in Mandoverse. I think would be really fun to see. And I'll be curious to hear from you guys. Like, do you think that would be a cool thing? Would you be interested in that? Would you buy Mandalorian comics? I know it's for sure as hell that I would. I would be all about that. This would be something I would be very excited to see. Now, what would that entail? I don't think it would have to necessarily be a narrative of, you know, necessarily an ongoing story like things that are happening, futuristically, but it could be a thing of, touching on things of Din Djarin's past. I think it would be kind of cool to see kind of his upbringing as a Mandalorian, like how he got his armor, what was his training like, what were some of his very first missions, and kind of a segment not necessarily an origin, of like this is how you know what I mean. It doesn't have to be a full on origin story, which we kind of know a little bit about his upbringing anyway, being someone who grew up on Agvetna and separatist battle droids, destroyed his family, and then he was taken in as a foundling. Like we know all of that, but I'm saying it would be kind of cool to see, maybe some of those segments of like, hey, this is what his training, what Mandalorian training per se actually looks like, and some of the trials that they have to go through, and the indoctrination of really, his clan, and what that looked like early on for him. I just think that would be really interesting in comic book format. You know what I mean? Taking us back in the comics and then ending it on the note where the very first episode of season one, like that's where it ends. This mini series of a comic. I think that would be pretty brilliant. That would be kind of cool to see. But looking at this artwork, it gives me ideas of stuff like that, which I just think would be freaking amazing. Now, here's another way that they could do it. Here's another way that they could do, comic book stuff for Mando. If you didn't want to do another Boba Fett, comic book series, because that we've got some stuff out there, plenty of stuff in Legends. We had the also, if we're talking, in canon, recently, the War of the Bounty Hunters, and there's plenty of stuff out there for Boba Fett. Nothing really in comics for the Mandalorian, but if they didn't want to, fully do that yet, I think there's another way that they could do it, who I think would just be freaking amazing, and that's Fennec Shan. Now, I've seen this image, floating around before, and I was like, dude, just think like a limited series or one huge, just one thick graphic novel that just focuses on her. Maybe you get a little bit of past and present of Fennec Shan, like maybe some stuff she was up to. Again, flashbacks to things happening in the Bad Batch time and kind of her early upbringing to the time where she kind of met the Mandalorian, and that's kind of where you can sneak Mando in, to where he kind of like shot her down, their confrontation. Flashbacks, past, present, something with her, and just looking at that, like that graphic novel, I would buy that. This artwork, by the way, this is through Azuri Art, so shout out to them. But something like this too, I think would be freaking amazing. I would buy that. Take my money now, is what I'm saying. So you guys, let me know. What do you think about this? Like, I am all for it. Again, I think it's one of those things, like for the Mandalorian, it's so current right now that it's hard to think of, like, what are you going to do for like novelization and comics. There are ways, I'm sure, that they could expand and probably use Din Djarin and Grogu in comics. But right now, the narrative is, the TV series and kind of pushing things forward with that. So it's hard to really think about like where they're going to fit some of those characters in terms of comics. But I, for one, would be all for it, especially I think it would be genius. Like, those times when season 2 ends, season 3 is coming up, but when it ends, we're going to be going on a little bit of a hiatus, and it's like, man, I'm kind of missing Mando. Well, I think a cool way of like kind of quenching everyone's thirst would be like, here's a little limited series that we're going to give you guys of what some of these characters could be up to during this time. I think that would be kind of cool too. So anyway, you guys let me know what you think. I love showcasing art. That's one thing I do on Instagram all the time. I try to make each platform that I'm on the same but a little bit different. So if you guys are on TikTok, you see me all the time in suit in my Mandalorian cosplay, because like literally that's my thing. As the Dadalorian, and here on YouTube, sometimes I'm in suit, but really it's more the streams. Really, it's more informational. It's me having a conversation and talking with you guys, and really kind of just talking about anything Star Wars related, and doing stuff like this. But if you guys are on Instagram, make sure you follow me there. I like to post a lot of fan art, a lot of Star Wars fan art, and sometimes just personal stuff about my life, family, but really it's kind of like a fan art Star Wars page. That's kind of what my Instagram has turned into. So if you're into that kind of stuff, make sure to go follow me on Instagram as well, and Twitter. I'm still trying to figure out how to do Twitter, man. Twitter is like a tweet and I'm like, dude, where does my tweets go? Where does it trickle off to? But anyway, if you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, be sure to go follow me over there. I post a lot of fan art. But dude, let me know what you guys thought about this art that I, really brought to the surface today. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it before. Again, like I said, it's not groundbreaking new news, you know what I mean? But it is something that I wanted to talk about and touch on because I, for one, I'm all rooting for Mandalorian comics, a graphic novel, something. I feel like there's a couple different outlets where they could do it. So I'm all for it. You guys let me know what you think about that in the comics, in the comments below. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, this is your first time seeing some of my videos, be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. I think there's a lot of you guys that are watching that are not yet subscribed. So if you could definitely subscribe, that would help me out a ton. Our goal for this year is to try to get to 10K. So would greatly appreciate that. If you've seen me before, give me that chance to be a fresh source of Star Wars content for you. So much love. I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace.